Welcome to Celestial Zodiac. Today we're exploring Uranus retrograde through the lens of astrological house placement, and what it reveals about where your life is being awakened and recalibrated. Uranus retrograde is often misunderstood as chaos, instability, or sudden upheaval. But beneath the surface, it represents something far more liberating. It is a cycle of internal awakening, a period when rebellion turns inward, conditioning is examined, and individuality strengthens before it manifests outwardly. Uranus governs disruption, innovation, liberation, originality, higher awareness, and sudden change. It rules how you individuate, how you break from inherited patterns and claim your own frequency. Where Saturn builds structure, Uranus breaks stagnation. Where Saturn stabilizes, Uranus electrifies. When Uranus turns retrograde, external disruptions may quiet, but internal restlessness increases. The visible rebellion softens and the internal awakening becomes louder. You may question long-standing roles. You may feel unsettled by routines that once felt safe. You may recognize where you've outgrown expectations you didn't consciously choose. Retrograde is not chaos. It is recalibration. It is not destruction. It is liberation from what is outdated. If zodiac signs describe how Uranus awakens, houses reveal where that awakening is occurring. The house placement shows which life department is undergoing energetic reorientation, where authenticity is surfacing, where stagnation is breaking, and where you are being invited to live more truthfully. This applies whether Uranus is retrograde in your natal chart or currently transiting through a house. In both cases, that house highlights where independence strengthens internally before visible change unfolds externally. Uranus retrograde asks a subtle but electric question. Where are you ready to be free, and what are you no longer willing to tolerate? Let's begin with the first house. The first house governs identity, physical presence, and how you approach life. It represents the self in motion, the way you define who you are and how you present yourself to the world. When Uranus moves retrograde in the first house, identity turns inward, but not for consolidation. For liberation. You may feel restless with labels that once felt comfortable. You may question whether your current self-image reflects who you truly are, or who you adapted yourself to be. Confidence becomes less about fitting in and more about standing apart. Psychologically, this placement invites radical self-honesty. Uranus retrograde here asks, are you expressing your authentic individuality, or performing a version of yourself that keeps others comfortable? In real life, this could show up as experimenting with appearance, redefining personal direction, or feeling an internal urge to break free from old roles. This is not instability. It is individuation. The first house under Uranus retrograde strengthens authentic self-expression. Next is the second house. The second house governs money, material resources, stability, and self-worth. It represents what you value and what you believe makes you secure. When Uranus moves retrograde in the second house, financial patterns and value systems undergo internal disruption. You may question income structures, spending habits, or whether your pursuit of security is limiting your freedom. Psychologically, this placement invites liberation from outdated definitions of worth. Uranus retrograde here asks, is your value tied to conventional success, or personal authenticity? It can surface tension between security and independence. You may realize that true stability requires flexibility. In real life, this could show up as exploring alternative income streams, shifting financial priorities, or redefining what abundance means to you. This is not recklessness. It is realignment. The second house under Uranus retrograde strengthens value-based independence. Next, we move on to the third house. The third house governs communication, daily interactions, siblings, and mental processing. It represents how you think, speak, and interpret your environment. When Uranus moves retrograde in the third house, mental patterns become electrified internally. You may suddenly see old beliefs differently. Conversations may replay in your mind as you reinterpret them from a new perspective. Psychologically, this placement disrupts habitual thinking. Uranus retrograde here asks, are your ideas truly yours, or inherited from your environment? This can awaken innovative thinking, unconventional viewpoints, or a desire to communicate more honestly. In real life, this could show up as changing communication styles, questioning local commitments, or feeling mentally restless. This isn't chaos, it's cognitive breakthrough. The third house under Uranus retrograde strengthens intellectual independence. Moving on to the fourth house, we look into emotional liberation and roots. The fourth house governs home, family, ancestry, and emotional security. It represents your inner foundation and the psychological environment you were shaped by. When Uranus moves retrograde in the fourth house, emotional conditioning comes under review. You may question family dynamics, inherited roles, or long-standing domestic patterns. Psychologically, this placement invites freedom from emotional programming. Uranus retrograde here asks, which parts of your emotional identity were chosen, and which were absorbed? You may feel an internal urge to redefine what home means or to break generational cycles quietly but decisively. In real life, this could show up as reconsidering living arrangements, redefining family boundaries, or emotionally detaching from patterns that no longer resonate. This isn't rebellion for its own sake. It's emotional awakening. The fourth house under Uranus retrograde strengthens inner autonomy. Next is the fifth house. The fifth house governs creativity, romance, joy, self-expression, and what you create from the heart. It represents how freely you allow yourself to be seen. When Uranus moves retrograde in the fifth house, creative energy becomes unpredictable internally. You may outgrow artistic styles, romantic patterns, or ways of expressing yourself that once felt exciting. Psychologically, this placement invites authenticity and pleasure. Uranus retrograde here asks, are you creating to impress, or to express? Romantic dynamics may feel unstable if they restrict individuality. You may crave more freedom in how you love and play. In real life, this could show up as experimenting creatively, redefining dating standards, or embracing unconventional hobbies. This is not loss of joy, it's liberation of it. The fifth house under Uranus retrograde strengthens fearless self-expression. Next is the sixth house of work, health, and system disruption. The sixth house governs work routines, health, service, productivity, and daily systems. It represents how you structure everyday life. When Uranus moves retrograde in the sixth house, routines may feel suddenly restrictive. You may question whether your daily habits support your evolving identity, or keep you trapped in repetition. Psychologically, this placement disrupts autopilot behavior. Uranus retrograde here asks, are your systems designed for efficiency, or freedom? You may become aware of burnout patterns, rigid productivity standards, or health routines that need modernization. In real life, this could show up as changing work environments, altering schedules, or experimenting with alternative wellness approaches. This isn't instability, it's innovation. The sixth house under Uranus retrograde strengthens adaptive living. Next, the 7th house is about partnerships and relational awakening. The 7th house governs long-term partnerships, marriage, business contracts, and one-to-one dynamics. It represents how you relate to equals and how you commit. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 7th house, relationship dynamics undergo internal disruption. You may begin questioning agreements that once felt stable. Roles may feel restrictive. Patterns of compromise may no longer sit comfortably. Psychologically, this placement invites relational authenticity. Uranus retrograde here asks, are you staying out of habit or choice? Are your partnerships allowing individuality or suppressing it? In real life, this could show up as redefining relationship expectations, craving more space within partnerships, or reconsidering contractual agreements. This is not automatic breakup energy. It is awakening within relationship. The 7th house strengthens conscious, freedom-based partnership. Next is the 8th house. The 8th house governs shared finances, debt, intimacy, power dynamics, inheritance, and deep transformation. It represents what is merged, entangled, or emotionally intertwined. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 8th house, internal shifts around trust and vulnerability intensify. You may suddenly see power imbalances more clearly. Emotional dependencies may feel destabilizing. Psychologically, this placement disrupts hidden control dynamics. Uranus retrograde here asks, or have you merged out of fear? Where are you giving away power, or gripping it too tightly? This can bring unexpected psychological insight, sudden awareness of patterns you previously tolerated unconsciously. In real life, this could show up as restructuring shared finances, redefining intimacy boundaries, or breaking emotional contracts that limit growth. This is not destruction. It is transformation through clarity. The 8th house under Uranus retrograde strengthens empowered intimacy. Moving on, we come to the 9th house. The 9th house governs higher education, philosophy, spirituality, law, publishing, travel, and long-term vision. It represents the framework through which you interpret meaning. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 9th house, belief systems become electrified internally. You may question long-held philosophies, feel restless with rigid doctrine, or awaken to perspectives that feel radically different from your past worldview. Psychologically, this placement invites intellectual independence. Uranus retrograde here asks, are your beliefs truly chosen or inherited? Are you living your truth, or repeating tradition? Faith becomes experiential rather than institutional. Perspective becomes innovative rather than conventional. In real life, this could show up as exploring alternative education paths, shifting spiritual practices, or redefining long-term goals. This is not rebellion for its own sake. It is expansion through awakening. The 9th house under Uranus retrograde strengthens liberated philosophy. Next is the 10th house. The 10th house governs career, reputation, leadership, authority, and legacy. It represents your public identity and long-term ambitions. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 10th house, professional identity may feel unsettled internally. You may question career paths that once seemed secure. Authority structures may feel outdated. Psychologically, this placement invites reinvention. Uranus retrograde here asks, are you climbing a ladder you actually want? Is your public role aligned with your evolving identity? You may feel tension between stability and authenticity. In real life, this could show up as exploring unconventional career options, craving autonomy, or redefining long-term success. This isn't reckless disruption. It's innovative redirection. The 10th house under Uranus retrograde strengthens authentic public expression. Next we come to the 11th house. The 11th house governs friendships, social networks, collective movements, and long-range aspirations. It represents your place within the larger group and your vision for the future. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 11th house, alliances and future goals undergo internal recalibration. You may feel detached from groups that once felt aligned. Long-term visions may shift unexpectedly. Psychologically, this placement invites freedom in belonging. Uranus retrograde here asks, are your communities supporting your evolution? Are your goals authentic or socially conditioned? It can surface sudden awareness of where you've outgrown collective identities. In real life, this could show up as redefining friendships, distancing from groups, or pursuing more unconventional future plans. This is not isolation. It is alignment through authenticity. The 11th house under Uranus retrograde strengthens visionary independence. Finally, we come to the 12th house. The 12th house governs the subconscious, hidden fears, spiritual retreat, solitude, and unconscious patterns. It represents what operates beneath awareness. When Uranus moves retrograde in the 12th house, unconscious material may surface unexpectedly. Sudden insights, vivid dreams, or internal restlessness can signal that something long buried is ready to shift. Psychologically, this placement disrupts hidden limitations. Uranus retrograde here asks, what unconscious pattern is ready to break? Where are you limiting yourself without realizing it? This can feel subtle but profound, a quiet internal revolution. In real life, this may show up as increased need for solitude, intuitive breakthroughs, or a desire to release long-standing fears. This is not chaos. It is spiritual awakening. The 12th house under Uranus retrograde strengthens inner liberation. As you reflect on where Uranus retrograde is operating in your chart, consider not just the house itself, but the type of house it occupies. In angular houses, the 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th, the awakening tends to feel more visible. These houses govern identity, home, relationships, and career. When Uranus retrogrades here, shifts in independence and authenticity may become noticeable in your core life structures. You may redefine who you are becoming. Reimagine your home environment. Reevaluate partnership dynamics. Or reconsider your public role and professional direction. Because angular houses initiate action, Uranus retrograde here can feel externally disruptive, but its true work is internal. It is inviting you to live more truthfully in the most visible areas of your life. In succeedent houses, the 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th, the focus turns to values and alignment. These houses govern resources, creativity, shared assets, and long-term aspirations. Uranus retrograde here redefines what freedom means within stability. You may question financial norms, experiment creatively, reassess shared power dynamics, or revise long-range goals. This is less about reckless change and more about authentic recalibration. Uranus retrograde in succeedent houses asks, does this reflect who you are now? Or are you maintaining it out of habit? In cat-end houses, the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th, the awakening becomes quieter and deeply internal. These houses govern communication, daily systems, belief frameworks, and the subconscious. Here, Uranus retrograde disrupts mental conditioning, challenges routine patterns, expands philosophical awareness, and surfaces unconscious limitations. The shifts may not be dramatic outwardly, but internally perspective changes quickly. Thought patterns loosen. Habits feel outdated. Beliefs evolve. Hidden restlessness becomes clarity. Uranus retrograde does not create chaos. It reveals where stagnation has already set in. It does not destroy stability. It liberates authenticity from what has become rigid. The house reveals where independence strengthens internally, where truth surfaces quietly, and where personal evolution prepares you for external change when the planet moves direct. Thank you for watching Celestial Zodiac. If this Uranus retrograde breakdown resonated with you, subscribe for more in-depth planetary insights, house placements, and grounded astrology analysis. Until next time, keep awakening, keep evolving, and allow your authenticity to lead the cycle.